I wanted to make this video when Prime Day was going on, but I had COVID, so I missed it. I haven't been in the office for 2 weeks because first I had COVID and then my nanny disappeared for a week. My new nanny started today, so I've got a little bit more time to talk about this kind of stuff. But Prime Day specifically, something really interesting happened. There was a decline, specifically in millennials. Millennials pulled back and spent less money on Prime Day than they would have on a regular day, which is doing this very interesting thing where all kinds of stuff in the economy is going on. And, McDonald's is finally showed a miss in their earnings report. This is an interesting video, but you should stick around. It's going to be different than how I normally talk about things, but all these things are happening specifically with millennials is that spending is decreasing. There's a purpose why I'm talking about this. Spending is decreasing. And that kind of shows you the landscape of how difficult this economy is, how difficult it is to be a young person. Well, I guess millennials aren't young. I just turned 29 on Thursday. I guess that's still young, but you have to be really careful. And this perfectly leads me to talking about what I want to talk about in this video, which is once you land on the gear arsenal that you have, if you've got a nice iPhone 15 or iPhone 14 Pro or whatever, or 13 Pro, then you can do videos. If you've got a nice Canon M50 with an 11 to 22 millimeter on it, you can take really good real estate photos, or an A6000 with a 10 to 18 millimeter Sigma or Sony or whatever on it, then you can take photos. Obviously, there will be a progression that you'll need to take where you might need to get something like a ZVE1 or an FX3 or A7S3 or an A7 IV, which I'm filming on, or whatever. But once you get that initial list of gear that can help you create really good materials, whether it's photos or video, or you get a good drone, like good enough drone. I have the Air 3. I have the DJI Air 3, and it's a great drone. You could get the Mavic 3 for the, I think it's a micro four thirds sensor, whereas the Air 3, I think, has a similar sensor as the Mini 3 Pro or something like that, but it's got the extra lens on there. Once you get to a specific arsenal of gear that you have, chances are that you could take that level of gear and continue on to be earning $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month from that gear. I still, even though I have a ZVE1, an A7 IV, a 16 to 35 millimeter G Master, if I'm in a house and I just want to create a listing video using my phone, I will. The last 3 or 4 listing videos that I've done actually has been on my iPhone, because the circumstances of that property, it looked better with an iPhone, since the iPhone's able to kind of mask in the windows a little bit more. So if you're in a darker house with smaller windows, that will just get blown out because not a whole lot of light is coming into the house for your ZVE1 or your A7 IV to properly be able to have the dynamic range. The auto, like AI masking or something like that in the iPhone, comes out better. So just because you have an expensive piece of gear doesn't necessarily mean you have to use it all the time. But if you have good enough gear, you don't need to constantly be buying things. So when something like Prime Day happens and you're super tempted to go on, and just because they have a new 50 millimeter f1.4 for $200 off, you're like, oh hell yeah, I'm going to spend the money. I'm going to spend the $1,300 to get this lens. You don't need to. There's something called GAS, gear acquisition syndrome, and I've been a problem child of that for quite some time. Luckily, I've kind of gotten out of it. But once you have a piece of gear, maximize that piece of gear. Don't buy something new until the acquisition of the new item can facilitate a very specific purpose. If you've got an A7 III that you've been using for photos and videos, and you feel quite limited by the white balance because it's an 8-bit color depth camera, so you can't color grade it very well, and you want to take your videos to the next level, then a purchase of like an A7S III or an A7 IV or ZVE1 or whatever, that's a worthwhile expense. Or maybe you've been just using a Samyang 14mm f2.8 prime lens for your Sony full frame camera, and you want to get a zoom lens, something like the G Master 16 to 35, which is an extremely sharp and beautiful lens. That makes sense. Or let's say you want to get an 85mm for some detail shots, and you also think that maybe some realtors would be interested in getting some headshots done. You can get that piece of gear. But don't just buy something because it's shiny and new. And I mean, I've got a myriad of different things. This right here, I mean, stuff like this is okay to buy. This was $17. It's actually kind of cool. I wanted to make a video on this, but there was no purpose to. It pops onto your phone like this. And then there's like a little button that right here that wirelessly transmits to your phone to where it can take photos. But then you turn this on and then it turns into a little flashlight as well. So that is kind of besides the point. This was, if you're interested in Ulanzi CG02, and it's just, it's actually kind of cool because it's got this, this is the purpose why I originally bought it, because I was creating listing videos with my phone, and I wanted a way to attach my phone to my slider. I didn't want to just use something, I don't even have one right next to me. I didn't want to use like the crappy cell phone clamps. I wanted to get something with this quarter inch thread, so I could put a base plate on there to attach it to a ball head. And then this was $17, so I bought it. And it helped me facilitate, it facilitated smoother listing video shots when I wanted to use the slider, even though it didn't really make sense to use a slider when I was controlling the slider with my phone and all that stuff. But it was an experiment. But you don't need to be buying a bunch of different cameras for different purposes. You don't need to be, you don't need to get a new iPad. You don't need to get a new computer. I mean, the laptop that I have right here is a 2020 MacBook Air. It's an 8 gigabyte. Yes, I have the M2 Mini Pro, 32 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of SSD storage at home, and that is a heavy hitter for all my listing videos because I edit my own listing videos. You don't need to be searching for a piece of gear to buy. The only time you should buy a new piece of gear is if you know exactly what you need. If your gimbal is starting to be a little bit more shaky and you want to upgrade to something else. The gimbal that I have, it's a DJI Ronin SC2. I think that's the name of it. It's the older version of the full Ronin gimbal. I think it's SC2 Pro or SC Pro 2 or whatever it ends up being. I bought it a few months ago for $250 on eBay. You don't even have to buy new things. I know I've got Amazon links in the description below to where, people who do want to buy new things, if you buy that, buy something through my link, I get a couple dollars for it, and that's really great. But if you want to buy gear, you can buy it used. The only pieces of gear that I don't buy used are like tripods or drones or, something like this where it's easy to buy from Amazon for $17, or I've got gears and clamps and lights and whatever. All that stuff is new. But cameras, lenses, gimbals, all that stuff, it can all be bought used for considerable cost savings. So I encourage you to be a little bit more diligent in the amount of spending that you do, because let's say you have an A7 III and a 14 to 24 millimeter Sigma f2.8. You've got a Zhiyun Weebill S gimbal, and then you've got a nice cell phone and a nice tripod and just a ball head, and you've made $10,000 in a month from that. You probably don't need anything else. You don't have to, like, at that point you might be tempted because you see $10,000 in your bank account, or maybe $9,000 or whatever, because you spent a little bit of money. You might be tempted to go out and spend $3,500 on an FX3. Do you really need one? Because then you have to get a better gimbal, you got to get a better lens for all this stuff. Like, you don't need to be constantly upgrading if you're able to maximize what you have. I could sell everything that I have except for this cell phone and this tripod, and then a cell phone gimbal, the DJI Osmo Mobile 6. I could just keep my iPhone and I could still have a successful real estate photography business, because it's, the internet will be up in arms about how this camera is the best at this, and you can't be professional because your clients will see and they'll think, oh, if he just uses his iPhone, then I can just do the work. They can't. It's all about the operator. Yes, your gear can help you do these specific things, but if you get really good at using your phone, then I could have a whole business just using my phone, and it would be professional, and I would out earn a lot of other people just because I know what I'm doing and I know how to extract the most out of this, and I don't need to be constantly updating and upgrading my equipment. So chances are your piece of gear can do a whole lot more than you can. So take the time to absolutely maximize what you're able to do before buying something new. Obviously, if you have money to blow, get the best of the best and you'll be fine. But if you're constantly just like, you earn a couple $1,000s from your real estate photography business, and then you buy a new lens, and then you earn a couple more $1,000s, and then you buy a new camera, you earn a couple $1,000 more, and you buy a new gimbal and a new tripod and all this stuff, you don't even have a business. You just have something to facilitate the purchase to be able to continue doing the services. But the ultimate goal of having a real estate photography business is to have it be a business and be able to actually enjoy the amount of revenue that comes in, and be able to see your savings grow and pay all your bills and be able to live on that and not need another job. So Be more careful. When something like Prime Day happens, you don't need to go out and spend the money on stuff that's on there just because it's for sale. Just because something's for sale and it's on sale, maybe a couple $100 discount, doesn't mean you need it. Use the gear that you have. You'll get bored of it. It won't be shiny and new anymore. But I mean, it's crazy. The more gear that I buy, and the more I've got $20,000 worth of gear sitting around. I got multiple cameras and multiple lenses. Nothing excites me anymore because I realize and I understand that all this gear does is just let me do my business and create my content. I don't need to constantly be getting excited about, the A7S IV that might be announced in Q3. I don't need to get excited about an $800 Ronin SC4 gimbal or whatever it is, RS4. Oh, I think it's RS2. I think it's DJI Ronin RS2. Whatever. Even this MacBook Air I bought for $500 used about a year ago on Facebook Marketplace. The Mac Mini M2 Pro that I got from Apple refurbished. So at every corner I'm trying to save money, and here's what you'll need to realize if you watch a lot of my videos and you know that I talk about the more like strategic business side of things. The people that make the most money, the wealthiest people, they spend money, yes, but they know how to hang on to the money that they have. They know how to save. They know not to blow stupid things on, here I am wearing a Lululemon shirt and Lululemon pants, but my wife bought them for me for my birthday, so I'm going to wear them. They're really nice, but I could achieve the same thing going to Marshall's and spending $4 on a t-shirt. Just because you're making really good money doesn't mean you have to spend it. Let me say that again. Just because you're making a good amount of money doesn't mean you have to find something to spend that money on. You can save it. Save the money. Invest in something bigger when the time comes. Start an online business, start a YouTube channel, start an online coaching program, whatever. So just be smart. But that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Coaching program down below. A few more slots available if you're interested. I've got Coaching Light, got my book, got group coaching that I'm going to start up pretty soon. I've got an online course that is almost done. So if you want to pre-order that, it's like 50% off to pre-order the course right now. Should be live. I think actually tomorrow I'm going to film the remainder of the videos. So I just have to edit them and upload them, and then it should be done within the next couple months. So if you want to get a discount and access, I think the original course is going to be $500. I think I have it for sale for $250 right now. So if you want to get pre-order, if you want to get that pre-ordered and get a 50% off coupon, because this isn't one of those fear of missing out things. As soon as the course is live, the price is going to $500. I don't care if people buy it or not. That's going to be the price. So I also have another course that's coming. So one of my students, actually a couple of them, reached out to me saying that they wanted me to do a start to finish listing, like a cinematic listing video course. So from getting all the materials and filming everything on site and then editing them, I'm going to do, I think I'm going to have the same course but split out into 3 different things. I think I'm going to have one that's focused on Final Cut Pro, one that's focused on DaVinci Resolve, and one that's focused on Premiere Pro. The only thing that's going to be different about those courses is going to be the editing portion. Or maybe I'll just include them all in the same thing to simplify things. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do. But I'm going to have that be the same cost as what a year ago my listing video, one listing video is going to be, was what I charge for listing videos for my clients, is $349. That's what the course is going to be. I want you to understand, because there's also, I'm trying to figure this out, and bear with me for a sec as I collect my thoughts, but a difficulty that I have at least in my brain with this YouTube channel and helping people start real estate photography businesses is getting through to them just how much money that they can make. Because when you're just getting into something and you see all the expensive camera gear that you have to get, and then you have someone like me saying, oh, you can get coaching for a couple $1,000s, you can get an online course for $500, or how to do property videos for $349. It can start to get really overwhelming and feel kind of scummy, and I understand that. The amount of money that you can make, like the course that I'm spending maybe even, probably about 100 hours on creating, I'm going to sell for $349. That doesn't seem... It seems like a whole lot of money from your standpoint, probably, but for me, that's a 20-minute listing video. Like I go to a property and I film for 20 minutes and then I edit for 30 minutes and that's done. I make that in an hour. So I'm trying by the services and products that I'm offering, I'm trying to get you to understand just how much money that you can be earning by doing this stuff. So I'm going to sell it for that. Maybe if I don't get a lot of sales, I'll decrease the price, but I doubt it. I think I'm just going to keep it there. And if you want it, you can get it. It's going to be a start to finish of how to do, everything to do with listing videos. That will not be included in the $500 course. So the $500 course is not going to go over from start to finish how to do listing videos. It will go over like a little bit how to film, and it'll go a little bit how to edit. But this property video course is going to be start to finish every single thing that you need to do. It's going to be, I don't know, probably like a 6-hour course, something like that. So watch out for that. If you're interested, I'll leave a link down below to pre-order that course. I will do it for 50% off until the course is live. So whatever, I'll do the math here real quick. So $349 divided by 2, that's multiplied by, I got 800,000. Okay, $349 divided by 2. $174. If you want to get pre-ordered access to that course, I'll have it listed for $174. You let me know how that sounds to you. If you want to do that, I'll have that linked in the description below. So, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.